Early in this chapter, you've learned that deployments is used to manage release of a new application. It's also used to manage zero downtime deployments, and you should manage pods with deployment. So we've learned all of this. Now, the key here that I want to emphasize is the first two bullet points: manages releases of new applications with zero downtime deployment. And this brings us to deployment strategies. So with Kubernetes, when it comes to deploy a new version of our application, within the deployment itself, we can use two strategies. We can use the recreate strategy or the rolling update. Now, the difference between recreate and rolling update is that recreate will actually delete every single pod running before it creates a new version of your application. And this is really dangerous. Again, this is very dangerous because if you have users using your application, then you'll have downtime. The preferred strategy is rolling update. So this is actually the default, but I'm going to show you how this works. So rolling update, it makes sure that the application keeps on receiving traffic to the previous version while the new version is up and running. And then basically it alternates the traffic. When the new version is healthy, it starts sending traffic to it. But for example, if the new version has a problem with it, then it knows not to bring a new version, right? Because something is wrong. So it will keep the previous application version up and running until the new version is fully healthy. So let me show you how to configure this within our deployment. So in here, inside VS Code, I want to configure a couple of things. So here, let's go ahead and basically we're going to add the strategy. And inside we have type. So I'm going to say type. And then here we have two options. So we have recreate or rolling update. So rolling and then update. And if I put my mouse in here, you can see that the type of deployment can be recreate or rolling update. The default is rolling update. So we don't even have to specify this, but I'm just showing you. Now with our strategy in here, we can basically configure it. So I'm going to say rolling update. And then here, I'm going to specify a couple of things. So here I'm going to say max and then unavailable. And I'm going to say 1. And basically what this says, so if I put the cursor there, it says the maximum number of pods that can be unavailable during the update. Value can be absolute number or a percentage, right? If you want a 10%, for example, you can do it, right? So during the rollout or during the update, the maximum number of pods that can be unavailable. So I only want 1 unavailable. So here, I'm not sure whether it says what's the default, but basically I only want 1 application or 1 pod to become unavailable, right? So there is no scenario where 2 pods will become unavailable. So if I have 3 up and running, and if a new version comes up, so we get 4 pods. Now, if the new pod becomes unavailable, it doesn't try and bring up the new one. Then also I want to specify the max and then search, and I'm going to say 1 in here as well. And the max search says never have more than 1 pod above the desired state, right? So here, never have more than 1 pod above the desired state, which is 3. More than 1, right? So basically, it will never, for example, have an instance that it has 5 at the same time, right? Because it has to satisfy this condition in here. And I'm going to show you all of this in action in a second. So this is all in good. Now to test all of this, what I'm going to do is change the version to 4. So this was version 3. So we have a version 4 in here. And also, let's just take the number of replicas and change this to 5, for example. save this, go back to my terminal, and in here I'm going to apply the deployment. So kubectl apply deployment, and at the same time I'm going to see the status so you can see everything working. And have a look, this was super quick. So waiting for deployment, hello world rollout to finish. 4 out of 5 new replicas have been updated, and then it did the rest. And in here you can see that 1 old replicas are pending termination, and then 4 out of 5 updated are available, and then rollout successful. So if I say get pods, so get pods, whoops, get pods, so I can't type today, so let's see, kubectl get and then pods, enter, have a look. So now we have 5 replicas in here. So this is why you see here, right, 4 out of 5 updated replicas are available. So it was waiting for the new one to come up, and all of them are up and running. So if I expose, so let's just not expose but port forward the deployment and open up the web browser. So this is version 3 right here. So now we have a version 4, refresh, and check this out. So the background has changed. So this is nice, and you can see version 4 in here as well. So there you have it. If you have any questions on deployment and strategies and how to properly configure this, go ahead and drop me a message. But in here, you can see that you can basically customize all of this according to your needs. And later we're going to touch more upon health checks later down in this course. But right now you should be so comfortable using deployments. Next, let me go ahead and show you how to pause and resume rolling updates.